Good morning and welcome back to the hottest marriage show that everybody is seeming to get closer and closer to. I am Too Much, aka John D. This is my wife, aka Do. How you doing this morning?
I'm doing well, thank you.
It's awesome. So, anything in particular you want to run across this cold, brisk morning?
Yeah, I've been curious to your opinion on something. What do you think about marital vows?
Now,
Yeah.
now I believe in them a lot more. I think before I didn't really make them. Like, it's like they kind of told us what they were, and I agreed to them. The reason why I agreed to them because like looking back, there's so many things that I agreed to that I didn't even understand anyway. And
Okay. Like what?
I don't know specifically, but if like when I hear people's marriage vows, like over the course of years after I got married, I realized I'm like, what the heck?
Okay, so here's the most basic one.
Okay.
I take thee to be wedded, my wedded husband or wife, to have and to hold from this day forward, for better, for worse, for richer, for poorer, in sickness and in health, to love and to cherish till death do us part, according to God's holy ordinance, and thereto I pledge thee my faith.
Yeah. So those things, like I didn't even really believe in those. Like remember like I didn't even know remember the unconditional love aspect when we talked a long time ago. I was like, nah, I don't believe in that because I feel like remember I was like, as we get older, remember I was like, if you become overweight, we're not gonna be together. Because I said that if I'm putting in the effort to be what you want, you should do the same. And in my head, I really thought that's what I wanted or thought that's what was gonna happen. But as like I got further into the relationship, that's when the unconditional aspect came about. Like I didn't understand it before because I didn't have a really good example of anybody telling me like unconditional. I just never understood that.
Yeah. I think that I feel that marital vows are a bit outdated. I think that the whole idea for better, for worse, I don't agree with that. I think that I think that there are boundaries in that, and it's according to the individual of what is better or worse than what they're gonna deal with. You know what I'm saying? Because I think that for like the whole goal in marriage, I think, is to have a partner to move through life, excel, and enjoy yourself. Like, whether you choose to have children or not, whether you choose to, I just feel like it's like you're saying, I want to be with this person because I love them and I can see that we are compatible to the sense that we could be together probably forever and really enjoy one another. We will be able to laugh together. We will take care of one another when we are sick. We will really enjoy life together. I feel like you're trying to find somebody, a partner in crime, to enjoy life. But as soon as, I'm not going to say as soon as, there are some marriages where nobody is happy, but they're still there because it fits in for better or for worse. And I don't want to, I feel like people go into marriage and the vows are kind of set in these really, really broad guidelines that people are sitting in. I would like to suggest an annual review process like work, and either in addition to or in lieu of marital vows. And this is why. I feel like who you are in your 20s is not necessarily who you are in your 30s or your 40s, because we're all growing up. And sometimes people grow up and they grow in different directions. Their viewpoints are different, and their who they were may have fit, but who they are may not. And I feel like as you're moving through life and your paths change, I don't think people should be like, well, we got married and we just got to stick it out. But what if you really don't fit anymore? What if you married somebody and y'all were both, quote unquote, equally yoked in Christianity? Because that was something that I grew up hearing. You need to be equally yoked, equally yoked. And one of the people ends up getting exposed to Islam. And then are you standing on the equally yoked? Is this for better or for worse? Are y'all still under the same agreement? Like,
I think that's they ultimately have to determine that.
Yeah, I agree. But I'm saying, like, you know, things change. Mm-hmm. People change.
Yeah.
And so I feel like there should be a point in time where you all feel comfortable saying, you know, sitting down and looking at where you are and saying, are you happy? I want to make sure you're happy. Do you feel fulfilled where we are? Because I think that a lot of times we get caught up in just continuing the same script, and everybody isn't feeling fulfilled. Some people are, and I'm not saying that every year we need to decide if we get married or divorced. I'm just saying that we shouldn't just lazily go through our marriage and say, these are the vows that we committed to, and so we gonna ride this thing out. I feel like we should all be checking in with one another to make sure that the other is feeling fulfilled.
You know, listening to that, I totally agree. I do agree. But I only agree because that's the idea that people really aren't working on their marriage. I truly believe that if two people decide to work, now, unless for some reason they were tricking each other completely in the beginning, they found something that brought them together, you know. And I feel like if I tell you I love you and you tell me you love me in our reevaluation.
Okay. Yeah.
You know, when we're trying to say, okay, is it like, I think people, even if you tell people that they need to do it yearly, it need to be some more suggestions.
Okay. I think that one of the things should be a review of generally, do you feel happy as yourself, and do you feel happy with me? I also feel like, you know, you can, speaking of yourself, talk about how do you feel like you're different this year than you were last year? Because we're doing this every year, right? Mm-hmm. And then your partner gets to say the same thing. So then you can really, really acknowledge and honor each other's growth and see where that person is going. Because, you know, what was it, in 2019, you and I sat down and had a real conversation. And it was like, where are we going from here? I will never forget that June. It was like, this is what you said, look, this is what I'm seeing. The person you are now, it's like, we don't talk the way we used to. We don't this, we don't that. And that's something that I miss and I want. And in my head, I was changing, but I thought everything was great. And it was like we were living in two different worlds. And it was probably something that it was very helpful to me to see how you had been experiencing this life with me versus I was making a very drastic change that year. And I just feel like it was an opportunity for you to say, you know, this is hurting me. And I was thinking we were all good. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think that it should be all about airing out grievances. I think that part of it should be about, this is how I feel like I grew this year. Well, this is how I feel like you grew this year. And are you happy? And, you know, really just trying to figure out, you get an opportunity to see the direction your partner's going in and see how you can complement it.
You know,
too.
Listening to you, this so crazy because I was kind of like evaluating us a couple days ago. And I was like trying to think about certain things that you've said that you don't like and things that I do. And it's like, that's another thing. I know we've spoke about the parenting aspect as far as my doubting what I'm doing. But with us, I see us doing different things. And I know the person that I am now, like it's heavy. And there are times where I'm like, I can't even talk to you because I know that that's not what you want. And I'm not saying specifically like you don't want to talk to me, but there's certain things that you don't want to talk about all the time. So it's like I have to pick and choose like when when I feel like it could be productive. Sometimes when I come up with suggestions that I'm like something was on my mind, I can't talk to you because like it's one of those things where I have to be aware that no matter how I say it, you're going to take it in a particular way. And I don't notice it until your response or I don't know, something when I'm like, okay, I guess we can't talk about this. So it's like, I don't even know. Like before, I'll tell you this is, I had started to reflect. Like I really did not care unless it was like it involved my well-being. Like whatever, like if you were on your own or whatnot, unless you ask something, and if I was on my own, I'm not looking for you. So now it's like I have to try to balance from looking for you and not looking for you.
I don't understand. What does that mean, looking for you?
Like, I'll give you an example. Last night, I was going to go get the dog food.
Oh, okay.
And then all of a sudden, you said you were going to go get it. And in my head, I'm like, all right. So I'm not for sure if you just want to just get out the house or you wanted to do it by yourself. But I didn't offer to go do it. I'm thinking like, so I send you a message or I call you. You don't pick up. So I send a message and say, hey, let me know when you're around so that I can come get it. And in my head, all of that, I just started thinking, I'm like putting like the different things that I'm trying to do to not seem like I'm doing too much. Because before, I feel like I look at it, I didn't do enough. But I think you got used to me not doing enough. And then when I realized that I could do more, it was just too much. It was like, I didn't like, if the person I am today, if I was like that in the beginning of our marriage, we wouldn't have lasted. Because that is not what you like. I think the only reason why you deal with it now is because you know it's a better version of me. And it's just like, you got to kind of go through it, you know, just to see like what this is going to really be about or whatnot. But if it was before, if I really cared, we wouldn't have stayed married. I don't think.
If you wouldn't have cared?
No, if I would have. If I'm the person I am today in the beginning, are you like, oh no.
What? No.
I really believe that because I'm telling you, like, I thought that I was growing into the person that you would want. And you like there, I feel like before there was a lot of times we didn't spend time together.
Right.
Because we had separate lives, but now it's like I try to be present, but it's too much. being present. Do you see what I'm saying?
Because I am a person who I have to have time to myself.
You look, you can't possibly think that I'm around you to the point where you don't have time to yourself.
No, but me naturally, I was somebody that liked to just drop off and not engage with people and then come back. I was one of those friends. Some people call them toxic. I'm not really. I just really, really need time by myself. And then when I come back, I used to hate to have friends. You know, you have friends and you come and you're like, oh, let's go hang out. Oh, now you here. You ain't ever trying to be. You ain't ever. And I'd be like, because I know there are some people that love to interact and they like that consistency. But for my own mental well-being, I like to be able to fall off and come back. And my particular friends, for a long time, I didn't make friends with people because they required that level of consistency from me and I couldn't give it. And rather than have to listen to you harp on me, I would rather just not even deal with you. But my friends from high school, they knew who I was and they let me be that. And when I would show back up, they would act like nothing ever changed. My best friend to this day, it's like we won't talk for weeks and then we'll get on the phone and we'll talk for like 8 hours. And she lets me because she knows I need it. But some people don't like that. And so I had gotten so used to getting not only the time that I wanted, but the extra time, because you were doing so many other things that now when you're around, I'd be like, whoa. And it's not bad. I definitely enjoy our interaction. I definitely do. Especially, but it's different now because I was sitting in the house by myself during most of this pandemic in the beginning when you were finishing your contract. So now, like when you showed back up, you were like coming in full throttle. It wasn't even like when we left it off in June of 2019 before we left back to the States. Like then it was like, Kanika, we don't even talk. Like you're not even recognizing, we don't even sit up at night and talk anymore. And I'm like, oh, so getting back into that was different. And then it just went cold turkey because I was gone. You know what I'm saying? And then I was by myself. And then you would come for breaks when you could, but it was different. So now I got to come up out of that and know that there's someone like here to interact with. So that's taken a bit for me. But I think that if you were like this when we started, I would have never gotten conditioned to have my time plus some. I would have just been able to have my time and then you and I would have had time. So I don't think I would have been gone.
Maybe that's just a way for me to be like, you wouldn't have appreciated me.
Yeah, you was up here trying to get your little gold star. She wouldn't have appreciated this hunk of man that I am now, this great husband.
At least trying to become. I'm like, yeah. But I will say this too, like, it is so frustrating to do the wrong thing when you feel like, okay, I give you an example. This morning, it's kind of an analogy of what I want to give, but I can't think of an example with you. So, I make breakfast for the kids. So I made some oatmeal and I put applesauce in it, for the cinnamon flavor to add it. And, I put fruit on all of them. They've always eaten it. And then she's eating it. I'm looking at her. She's looking like Dallas, when he don't want to eat something.
Yeah, he's like, oh, God.
Yeah, so I didn't do Dallas just like that. But I was so surprised because she normally eats everything. And I was like, you don't have to finish it. And she was just like, what do you want me to do with it? So I'm looking at her like I'm mad because I'm trying to add things, some spice. And I'm like, in my head at that point, I'm like, they're not going to like everything you do. So that's with you. I got to, just because I do something that I never did before, I can't expect you to like it.
Yeah.
And I'll be getting mad because I'm like, I really put some effort into thinking about what I could do to like be present. And then it was like.
Yeah. Well, I don't ever want you to feel like that. Just be like, oh, okay, that didn't work.
Oh yeah, I
Let me
know
try
now,
something
but
else.
that's this morning is what made
Yeah.
me realize that's what I have to do.
And as for last night, I just really wanted to get out of the house, and I like to be by myself sometimes. In the house, it's so hard to have that. I don't know. I need a little bit of time by myself. So I know you said you were gonna go get the dog food, but you know you had already been out and got the stuff for Dallas to make dinner. You had already been out to pick up Dallas. You had dropped Dallas. I mean, no, that was yesterday, Sunday. You do a lot of running, and so I was like, I could just go do that. That's not a problem.
So this is the thing though. Like when you did that, that was one of those moments where I'm like, am I supposed to say you want company, or am I supposed to just like wait? Like so, I think from now on, I think instead of me assuming if you want company, you be like you want to go. I think that's what you should do, and then I can either say yes or no.
Okay, that's fine. Y'all, at this point, you guys are sitting in on our yearly progress report, our annual review. Yeah, I think that, and this is what I mean by annual review, because, I mean, you should do this type of discussion every day. But I do feel like there were a lot of times where we went through the years, and just whatever was.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And if you have an open forum where everybody feels like it's a safe place to be able to say whatever they want and not be criticized for it, you know, it's the constructive criticism moment. I think that it's good. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like there are years where people are in unhappy marriages where they could have been separated. They could have been divorced and living a life that better suited them, but they didn't. They just kept going because that's what they've always done. And you just keep going. And it's not, you don't find sometimes you're not going to have that happiness with that person, and you don't want to hurt them. You know, you've said these vows and we just be pushing through. But you gotta pursue you have to be happy, or else why are we here?
I get what you're saying. I'm saying like, in out of the times we were married, the years we were married, I can say that I wouldn't say that I was unhappy, but the times that I was not as happy as I would have liked to be. Mm-hmm. Like I just thought it was like a season.
Yeah.
So I never thought that it would go into anything more than, but I never thought about doing what you suggested as far as the reevaluation, just to see where we're at. But I don't think I would have been able to be fair without this last 3 years.
Probably.
Because to me, when I looked at marriage and the times that I wasn't as happy, like I said, I was looking at it as a season. I was like, okay, it'll just keep going. But now I can literally see the growth in between you and I. Even though it's been, fairly rocky in certain instances, but I can see how much is so much different because of certain situations, because we didn't handle it like before.
Yeah.
And to me, it's like, look, before today, I just now thought about the number of times that we've kind of like had rifts, but it was like necessary rifts so we could get to know each other and where we are today.
Yeah.
But I didn't look at it like that before. Before it was just like, we'll just get over it and then we'll come back and it'll be over with.
Well, my fear is this, and I'm not saying on every annual review it's like at the end, we gonna check the box, we staying married again for another year, or we getting divorced. It's like, even with anybody else's annual review process or whatever, then you can say, you notice that the last 3 years we've talked about this same thing over and over again. And you and I have had this conversation where you would be like, Kanika, I've said this to you year after year after year. And I'd be like, yeah, I know. But there are some people, or even before this, there have been times where it's like, you've been doing this for years and the other person doesn't even know they're doing something for years. You've been doing this for years and I've been waiting for you to figure it out and be, you can't do that. This gives people opportunity. You can never say.
But we were talking about it every year.
Yeah, but I'm saying across the board, there are other things that
we didn't talk about.
Yeah, and so.
And you don't know that you're doing it.
Yeah, okay. And then it'd be like, because you would be like, why do you wait until you got a million examples to tell me about how you hated something? Why don't you just tell me then? And I wouldn't wait so that I could really like drop the biggest bomb on him. I'm the person that if something bothers me, I'll be like, oh, that bothers me. Just get over it until I can't take it anymore. And I used to do this with the kids too. And John would be like, you let them like they will do something for 20 minutes and then all of a sudden you blow up when you could have just told them to stop in the beginning. It's the same idea. And then it's like, if you say, okay, the last 3 or 4 years we've been talking about this, it's the same gripe. We come up with ideas what to do. It doesn't change. So where do we go from here? Then you really start to say, okay, maybe I'm not. Why am I not in doing what they want me to do? And maybe it's just not something. Is this something? How heavy is this need? Is this something that really maybe we're not fit? Maybe this isn't what, if this is really important to you and it's not important to me, and consistently we're talking about it and it's not working. Is this something that we really should be considering in this from the beginning, like to continue moving on? Are you happy? I remember when we got married, you said, I'm going to be here until I'm not happy. I'm not going to be here if I'm not happy. And I agree. I understand. And in this conversation, I know in his head right now, he's like, this woman is literally talking about some stuff. Trust me, I can hear myself right now, and I can hear you, and I know the conversation.
No, I'm just look. I'm trying to listen to you so that I can.
Yeah, but I that's why I think that, but I feel like it lets people know, like when someone has reached their end, and then they're like, I don't want to do this anymore. It won't be a surprise. This is something we've talked about and we've tried to work on, and like it won't be like, I didn't know that this was.
See, that's what I'm saying.
You know what I'm saying?
To you, remember the thing that we've talked about for years. Like that was, to me, those were just seasons. Like it was like, it's just something that comes with the marriage. I felt like everything else is enough for me to deal with that.
But that's when it comes to the point of when you weigh it and you say, look.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
You know what I'm saying? But I'm saying an annual review process is way better, because it's not like something that for 6 or 7 years somebody's been doing something, the other person is just living a life and not even realizing that this is something that's really bothering them, and then all of a sudden the person just blows up. Yeah. And it was like, I need to get out of this because I'm unhappy. You've been doing this for years. It's driving me insane. No. At this point, I think one of the things that really hurts also in the idea of divorce, and as we've grown up as a married couple, there are a lot of people who got married before us that are gone now. Like those marriages are gone. Mm-hmm. And the openness and being able to have a conversation and not feel attacked, but feel like this is a part where we're, this is that quality improvement check that we're doing to make sure that we are fulfilling one another's needs, because we want to be happy. That Definitely. Was the whole point of us getting together. I feel like I'm sorry, y'all. I feel like I talk a lot. So, so that's what I was saying about, like, vows are, something to say, but, it's the, in conjunction, I feel like what is most important is not everybody sticking to the vows, but really, really sticking to that, recognizing that who you married is constantly growing.
Changing constantly, for real.
Yes. Yeah. Changing and growing. And looking at the marriages in my family, looking at the marriages amongst my friends, those who are still married, those who aren't, I'm just thinking to myself, I saw these people changing. And I saw there were some things that never changed. And they got in there and thought it would. And I'm just like, maybe we should just make it a priority to kind of say, how are you growing? And am I still fitting in that picture of happiness? How am I growing and are you still fitting? How are you growing and am I still fitting? And then I guess it's just understanding that everybody isn't going to be the same person from beginning to end.
Yeah.
And it's like when marriages end and they're like, they changed. People do.
Yeah. Well, that's inevitable. People are going to change, but,
Can you handle the change?
Well, if you're involved on a daily basis, you guys will change together. Like the only, like I understand what you're saying, like the yearly evaluation. I don't think I think a yearly evaluation would be just something for us to look forward to, because I think we're constantly checking in. We're doing a better job at having conversations about how we feel and things that bother us. I'm not saying it's perfect or anything, but it looks a lot different from what it was before. Like when we first got married, I could say the year thing, we should do that. But now I feel like where we are now, we're doing evaluations constantly.
Well, that's what I'm saying though. If we were in year 2 or year 3 and somebody would have told us this, it would have made a world of a difference in how we grew, how we would have enjoyed one another more earlier.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know what I thought that our marriage was going to turn into. Like, I just felt like over the course of years, it'll figure itself out. I didn't know how much work you could actually do to make it better. I keep thinking about when we got married, and over the years it was like, we don't date. I'm like, we don't have to anymore.
Dude. He was like,
I was serious too, because in my head I was like, we married, why we got to do that?
Dude, this dude was like, wait, what? I thought that we did this so we didn't have to do that though. Jay-Z, I went through this so you didn't go through that.
Well, it's crazy. Like, I don't know how we were supposed to grow that way if we didn't date. No. But in my head I was like, because I think I told you though, because all the dates was on me.
Then there was that.
Yeah, like in my head, like
it was like, this chick costs a lot. Hey, I was cheaper than having a bunch of chicks though.
You were cheaper. You were cheaper. I'm the one that made it expensive because I bought you so many expensive things. Oh
yeah, I didn't need that.
You didn't. We could have just been great dates.
Yeah. Yeah.
But in my head, I thought a really good gift would buy some time because I didn't know how to do what you wanted. And
yeah, I felt like you used to buy me really nice gifts, and you didn't know that.
You didn't care about it as much as I thought you would.
They were really nice, yeah. But you could have broke that price up over a few dates, and I'd have been like, "This is amazing," But
Yeah, I mean, you live and you learn.
You got to live. Okay, go ahead.
I like the number of things that I didn't know. Mm-hmm. But nobody told me though. But I mean, I think everybody around me at the time, for the most part, was just kind of figuring it out. And the ones that probably had a good background, as far as a solid foundation, I wasn't really close to anybody like that. Like, I don't know anybody I grew up with, like when after I became an adult, that had parents that was the solid foundation of an example that I can recall.
Yeah.
And I think I realize you kind of just copy what you think is the right thing.
I literally copy and pasted my mom. Yeah. And I'd be interested to know when the people who are married or had been married, when you think about the role you played and how you looked at your marriage and addressed it and stuff, were you copying and pasting somebody, or did you define it for yourself? Because I agree. I feel like either you didn't see it, so you don't know, and you just winging it.
No, that's exactly what I was.
Or you saw it and you were like, this looks like this is about right. And then you just, did it.
The only thing that I can say that I took from my father was, that I can say outright is the bad teaching habits to the kids, like whooping. I was really aggressive, loud, and mean. And at that time, I really thought that was just a part of it. But I mean, I don't think I'm as mean anymore, but my father, I wanted to get away from as much as possible. Because
you mean as his kid, or the idea of who he was?
His parenting practices.
His parenting, right? Okay.
I always thought he was a good father, but there were things I was like, it's almost like pledging.
Okay.
Like you a lot of it is unnecessary, but you don't know that until he was like, what is all of this for? Like, damn.
Oh, well, that's a way of looking at it.
Yeah, like, but it's crazy because I pledged my whole childhood. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, y'all got me online for 83 days. I did this my whole life. Yeah.
Oh, that's horrible.
Yeah, but I really want to be who I thought I should have had as a kid.
Okay.
And the most difficult part of becoming that person is the way that I communicate still. Even though it's a lot better, it is, in my mind, I'm really still gung-ho about certain views because I feel like I know this is the right thing to do. Mm-hmm. But I don't know how to say it, so it sounds like I'm being bossy and do as I say. You know what I'm saying? Like, like this is the right thing, and I just don't know how to do it. Hey. So yeah, so
hey, buddy.
So check it out. I'm not going to talk about that, but I'm going to talk about this. I'll talk about that on the next episode whenever we do it. But so when my kids do something that I don't like, I have to prep myself sometimes and be like, okay, how can I say this nice? So I have to sound like a dork in my own head. I'm like, hey, did you notice that you left that cup on the table and didn't wipe it off? Like I have to do high-pitched sounds like I'm making a joke because it sounds like, what the fuck is this cup doing on the table? I know what.
Hey, buddy, did you see that syrup you dripped on the table?
Oh, my gosh.
Hey, buddy, did you use that syrup? Why isn't it in the cabinet?
Man. But anyways.
It's okay. It's okay. You'll be all right. Hey, buddy.
Yeah. Check it out. That's for next episode. Anyways, anybody you want to give a shout out before we get out of here?
I want to give a shout out to all of the married people, all of the people who used to be married, all of the people who have a goal to be married. I just hope that, you keep that happiness somewhere and make it a priority.
Yes. And I want to piggyback off of what she's like. Shout out to everybody who's married, who is constantly working to try to make it what they envisioned it would be before they got married.
Yeah.
And I know sometimes you can lose that vision, but I'm telling you, if you constantly work, it's going to get rough before it gets better. But if you constantly work, both of you will learn each other. But I'll tell you this, you have to be honest about your feelings, because if you just let something under the rug, it can happen again. And you don't want to blow up on somebody who's not purposely doing it on purpose, like who not intentionally doing something on purpose to bother you. Like when my wife gets upset, I didn't think about any of it to think like she would get upset. And I have to do a better job at being more proactive mentally on what I say or do so that she don't disappear for 2+ days at a time. Yeah, she's still doing it.
I was supposed to work down in 2 hours.
Inshallah. But thank you, everybody. Hope to see you next week. Make today better than yesterday. Don't worry about anything you can't control.